Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Corinna Jasienczyk, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Okay, the edition I'm reading today is the August 5th, 2022, Volume 127, Number 1. And on the front page here, we have Riding High in McCreary. On July 30th and 31st, the McCreary Fairgrounds were abuzz with activity. The McCreary Agricultural Society hosted the Heartland Rodeo Association. The pictures are left and right here. The weekend also featured some kids' entertainment, including face painting, which is shown in above, a small animal petting farm below, and some adorable photo opportunities shown to the right with the little boy with his face in the hat. Okay. We have an article here, All Dog Owners, Pups Soon Welcome to the Bark 40. This is a follow-up to last week's Bark 40 indication that there was going to be a new off-leash dog park to open in Neepawa. It's by Casper Huerhan. Dog owners will soon have a new outdoor space to bring their pups to for some fun in the sun. The Neepawa Area Dog Park Association announced at July's council meeting held July 19th that the Bark 40 will be opening this month. The Bark 40 will be an off-leash dog park located west of the road going into the compost site, this is north of Neepawa. Usage of that land was granted to the Neepawa Area Dog Park Association by the town of Neepawa. Nikki Tibet, a board member for the Neepawa Area Dog Park Association, explained that this project comes after years of planning and fundraising. And she says, the group was started in 2014. We took a break from fundraising in 2018-19 when 2 of the 4 board members moved away. New members joined in 2021, and we haven't stopped moving forward since. And she continues on by saying, the cost is projected to be around $11,000 for the fencing, which we have fundraised for via walkathons, donations from local dog owners, Neepawa Rotary Club, Rob Smith and Sons, online auction by Val Wilson, and Rockin' Animal House gift card sale, grant money, and items donated for the location. The dog park thus far will include a general entrance, a maintenance gate, and a large main area with a dedicated space for small dogs enclosed inside. The Neepawa Area Dog Park Association Board is planning for the park's grand opening to take place sometime this month, providing the park is fully ready. In the meantime, everyone is looking forward to this dream becoming a reality. Tibet enthuses, we cannot wait to see happy pups running around at the back 40. Tara McCarty added, this has been a bigger project than anticipated. We are very happy to see the park coming together. The Neepawa Area Dog Park Association Board had plenty of thanks to go around too, with gratitude being extended to the Neepawa community for all their support and patience, and to the town of Neepawa for the use of the land and continued maintenance of the area. As well to Nicole Cooper, Dennis Saket, and the town of Neepawa for their support and guidance throughout the process of establishing the park, especially in the last 6 months. However, the efforts of the Neepawa Area Dog Park Association Board won't be stopping once the park opens. In the board's final comments, McCarty told the Banner and Press, Once we get the dog park up and running, we hope to still continue our efforts on fundraising towards small add-ons or projects in the future. These add-ons may include items such as the addition of hills, tunnels, and a tent for extra shade. The Neepawa Area Dog Park Association Board invites everyone to watch for updates on their social media. And we have a couple of pictures here. We have the Neepawa Area Dog Park Association board members, Tara McCarty, Nikki Tibet, and Cassia Hollier. And do they say anything about the dog? Oh yes, pictured right. This official inspector by the name of Lucy was on the scene over the long weekend with her owner, Cassia Hollier. And Kinsman Courts 2 is having a grand opening this Saturday from 1:30 to 4 p.m. Refreshments, appetizers, and guided tours will be provided. It's at 307 Davidson Street. Any questions? Call 431-351-0611. And of course, any of the numbers that I read in the paper, you can always call into the banner and get those numbers. I'm going to leave the looking back section to the end. I'm not sure how my time is here, having never done this before. We do have a couple of shows playing at the Roxy Theatre in the near future, August 10th and 11th, so that's next Wednesday, Thursday. Showtimes are at 7:30, and it's Paws of Fury, the legend of Hank. Hank, a lovable dog with a head full of dreams about becoming a samurai, sets off in search of his destiny. And then the following week, August 17th to 18th, also Wednesday, Thursday, showtime 7:30, is Thor, Love and Thunder. And if you happen to go up to Wesagami, they have a theater there as well. It's the largest log cabin theater on the North American continent. And they have shows this Saturday to Monday. They have Top Gun Maverick playing. August 9th and 10th on the Tuesday, Wednesday, they have Elvis. And on the Thursday, Friday, August 11th and 12th, they have Minions, The Rise of Gru. And they start their shows at 7:30 as well. We have a cartoon. It's presenting the latest in bear protection. We have a bear here that's coming after the man on the right. And it's called the Inflatable Hunter Buddy, available in both bacon and garbage scent. And an opinion piece by Ken Modell called Will We Do Better in the Future? In the past, I have written about the U.S. medical system. I have had to delay getting back to Canada because I ended up in 3 different U.S. hospitals last week, 1 in Kentucky and 2 in Missouri. Treatment was excellent, and as of Tuesday, August 1st, my wife Christine was driving me 15 hours home. God bless healthcare staff and my wife. Will we do better in the future? A couple of years ago, I posed this question to Manitoba Health. If Manitoba had the same ratio of population to ICUs as North Dakota, there would be over 400 ICUs in Manitoba instead of 72. Do you know why Manitoba numbers of available ICUs varies so much from North Dakota? The stats are a couple of years old now. I actually got an answer, but as usual, the words can't be attributed to an actual person. But here's the answer, which was attributed to a shared health spokesperson. Manitoba's ICU capacity pre-COVID was 72 beds. In addition, up to 22 beds are maintained to meet the needs of cardiac sciences patients. This bed base has regularly expanded to meet patient demands during surges and busy periods, such as the annual flu season, but has been considered by system experts and leaders as appropriate capacity for a population the size of Manitoba and in line with historical needs during normal non-surge times. COVID has placed unprecedented pressures on critical care service, not just in Manitoba, but around the globe. In response to these demands, Manitoba has increased critical care capacity to 152 beds locally, and has arranged for access to additional capacity out of province through a number of agreements with other Canadian jurisdictions. As of Thursday, 122 patients, 60 COVID and 62 non-COVID, were being cared for in Manitoba ICUs. I'm thinking these are all the stats that are a couple of years old now. The sustained pressures of COVID-19 are expected to subside over the coming months with the expected availability and adoption of vaccines. This is definitely back a couple of years. System and critical care leadership continue to review evidence and data related to ongoing and anticipated demands on critical care capacity, both for potential future waves of COVID and for the future health demands of Manitoba's population. Comparison of bed base between vastly different jurisdictions, particularly between Canada and the United States, which have extremely different health systems, does not provide an accurate picture of capacity or demand in Manitoba ICUs, this shared health spokesperson has said. Back to Ken's opinion here. In a newspaper article in the Grand Forks Herald, Minot Trinity Hospital, Dr. Jeffrey Sather explained that at the height of the C-19 pandemic, North Dakota was running low on ICUs. If that was the case, then it's no wonder Manitoba's ICUs were overloaded. North Dakota had 111,000 cases and 1,554 deaths. The North Dakota population was stated at 762,000 in 2019. By the numbers, they haven't done as well as Manitoba on cases and deaths. C-19 has always been about numbers. Manitoba has done better than North Dakota. In Manitoba, there have been 1,125 deaths attributed to COVID-19 as of June 21. Out of a population of 1.4 million, that is a small percentage, but every death is sad and many were tragic. It has been stated many times that a high percentage of the deaths were among the elderly and in care homes. The situation will be studied much more, I am sure, but it is widely felt that many of the care home deaths could have been avoided. We will never know for sure. There have been 55,405 cases, which means about 4% of Manitobans tested positive for C-19. How many more actually had C-19? We also will never know. Earlier this month, Manitoba Health, when I asked how many people died in ICU, stated that 1 in 4 people in ICU didn't survive. Now, go back and reread Manitoba's health statement about ICUs. They defend Manitoba numbers by saying, comparison of bed base between vastly different jurisdictions, particularly between Canada and the United States, which have extremely different health systems, does not provide an accurate picture of capacity or demand in Manitoba ICUs. That's a very telling statement, Ken says. In Manitoba, the government decides how many ICUs or most other devices we have, or other services we have. In the U.S., demand determines how many services they have. While we can be very thankful for the quality of healthcare in Manitoba, the availability is often lacking. In the U.S., there are very short waiting lists. In Canada, a person can wait for months or years to get a treatment or surgery. Canada, and especially Manitoba, has been adamant that private healthcare is a bad thing. Maybe it's time to re-examine that premise. Had we revisited that premise a few years ago, maybe we wouldn't have run out of ICUs. 16 months ago, the whole C-19 process was geared to two numbers. One was reducing deaths, and the other was not overloading the ICUs. It appears we fell short on both counts, and in the process ran into a pile of social and economic issues as a consequence. I feel that overall, Manitoba did okay, but we could have done a lot better. We fell short, we didn't measure up, and that should be a wake-up call. There will be another pandemic. There will be more and more demand on healthcare, even without a pandemic. Manitoba Health admits we only had enough ICU beds for non-surge times. Will we do better in the future? Only if we decide to do so. And that was the opinion piece by Ken Waddell. I'm going to read Rita Friesen's Homebodies. Yikes, did you see that? Okay, so July is gone. As of August 4th, the sun is setting 43 minutes earlier than on June 21st and sleeping in an extra 35 minutes every morning, decreasing our daylight hours by 78 minutes. I took way too long figuring that out. The evening temperatures are a bit lower, and the clock, well, my clock is racing. It feels like summer is almost gone, and you know what is coming on. With summer comes a bit more unscheduled time, even for a retiree. The things to do list is more enjoyable than a winter list. Even with the time and the fun list, things are not yet completed. One chore I want to get done is to apply a wood treatment to the deck. I have time, right? I am keeping up with my pocket gardens. 6 cups of fresh strawberries in the freezer, and that is from a small patch. The raspberries are almost ready. 12 cups of shelled peas and 6 cups of green beans are also saved for winter. And we have and are eating both vegetables regularly for meals. The cucumbers are just starting, as are the tomatoes, and we have an endless supply of lettuce and spinach. The ground cherries are slow but delicious. Before too long, we will be dining on fresh potatoes, carrots, and green peppers, all from a little backyard oasis. Over the moon thankful for the gardens. Summer is more than yard and gardens for me. It is Sunday drives and day trips. It is evenings spent with family and friends. It is slow walks, sunsets, and moonshine, not the liquid. These summers are not the summers of my youth or middle years. There is no baling and hauling of hay. There are no family camping trips, not with a tent or with a camper. There are no countless sleepovers of countless grandchildren. No go-karts, mini bikes, or garden tractor parades. No rush for swimming lessons, summer camps, or sports days. I watch my grandchildren this phase of their lives. The great-grands now range in age from just past 1 to 12 years of age, and there are 7 of them. I am rocking chair age, but not of rocking chair mindset. Whereas I remember summers past with fondness, I do not long for them. Whereas I watch the next generation parent, I do not long for that either. I am content. Content with the slow pace of my days, content with ample opportunity to serve, content with quiet evenings. I am content. It has taken time and practice to be able to say that with complete confidence and sincerity. Much of my life I have been striving to be who and what others expected of me and from me, striving to meet my own expectations, real or unreal though they were, striving to get more done, to accumulate more, to see more, to do more, striving. These thoughts accompany me as I watch the daylight hours dwindle, knowing full well what comes next. I am in the fall of my seasons, and the scenery is beautiful. May it be a long, open season. I'm just going to pause there for a moment and grab a drink of water. Words for thought there. Okay, I'm the observation here by Addie Oberlin. Let's see what this observation is. Heat, heat, and more heat. The elderly in care facilities are being warned to stay hydrated to keep the water glass filled. Sometimes I do not feel like getting out of my easy chair to get more water. The splash parks are ideal for little ones and keep your pets safe and watered as well. The people who work in the hot sun are also in danger about overheating. We are not used to this kind of weather and are thankful that it will not last. Farmers have most of their hay put up, and I see beautiful bales out on the fields. How is our daily spiritual life? Is it well watered and regularly maintained? There is prayer needed for young and old. Some are housebound because of age or sickness. We need to encourage them and give them some water from the Word of God. It will bring peace of mind. The water from the well gives us water to refresh our body, but God gives us living water that will never run dry and will last forever. We need to encourage family and friends and give them some water from the Word of God. It will bring peace of mind. We have a mystery item here. What is this mystery item? Does anyone know what this mystery item is? June Siemens came into the office on July 29th with this picture. She thought readers of the Banner and Press would know what it is. She saw it at a friend's house and asked, but that person didn't know. It had just been sitting on the windowsill for a long time. It is 3.5 inches long, which I'm thinking is probably enlarged here in the picture then. You can submit your guesses to news@neepawabanner.com. A thumbs up, thumbs down. Muriel Gamey gives a thumbs up to the folks who have the beautiful yard on Whitman Drive. What a great way to welcome visitors and locals to Neepawa as they approach from the west on Highway 16. And the thumbs up, thumbs down, you can submit. You need your name, and it has to be under 100 words. You can do it in person here or by email, news@neepawabanner.com. Somebody you want to thank or something you want to say positive, and also if there's a thumbs down. Okay, looks like there was a music night in Minnedosa by Gladwin Scott. The Minnedosa Personal Care Home is unique as one of its residents, Gayleen Scott Stimson, leads the folks in an evening of music each Saturday, unless they are prohibited due to COVID-19. Many of the 50 residents gather in their common room to sing, hum, tap their toes, or snap their fingers to the old favorites, which often ends with "Take me out to the ball game." Gayleen is a retired high-energy teacher of more than 33 years, mainly in Strathclair, where she was very active in community affairs. Both she and her husband, Merv, were quite involved in the Strathclair Marching Band, which had an exchange visit with a German community band, Haversbeck. This event has a plaque on Main Street to commemorate the historic occasion. Also a former Minnedosa grade 8 teacher, she was a pianist for the Starlight Serenaders, a popular Western dance band that included Bob McTavish on sax, Carrie Moraes on percussionist, Clarence Martin on electric guitar, Father Jim Scott on the violin, and husband Merv on the trumpet. She was always a strong Legion supporter, as Merv was a Royal Canadian sailor on the destroyer Algonquin during World War II. Their duty was to protect the Canadian convoys from enemy submarines carrying troops and supplies to Britain. In 2001, she received the Woman of Distinction Award from the Brandon YWCA after Marie Moffat had nominated her. Her majorette marching corps was always a source of pride. Gayleen's youngest sister, Barbara Ann of Edmonton, recently took her on a field trip to see the beautiful Cardale School Wall of Fame. She played softball with Cardale during her teenage years. It is hoped that Gayleen will be able to lead the folk in their weekly musical evening, even as she approaches her 90th birthday. Okay. And a special celebration for the Church of Christ in Neepawa. A follow-up to last week's pictures. Neepawa by Owen Devereaux. Neepawa was recently the epicenter of a milestone anniversary and celebration for the Church of Christ. Several hundred parishioners from across Western Canada gathered in the community on Tuesday, July 26, for Iglesia ni Cristo Day. Iglesia ni Cristo Day is a national holiday in the Philippines that commemorates the foundation of the Church of Christ back in 1914. It is observed on July 27th each year. The event in Neepawa was held on the 26th as to coincide with the celebrations occurring at the same time in the Philippines due to the time zone differences. The local festivities included a march from the Yellowhead Center to the Iglesia ni Cristo Church of Christ building. After the participants assembled at the church, the day continued with musical performances and other merriment. Sidney Santos, the district minister of the Church of Christ for Manitoba, noted that they were very happy to be able to hold this celebration in Neepawa. And she says, "We were trying to time it with the time in the Philippines, which is July 27th, so that here we're doing a parade here in Neepawa. We're doing a parade with our brethren from different parts of our district, Winnipeg, Saskatoon, and other places. We gathered here so that we can just celebrate the anniversary of the church," said Santos. It's a and goes on to say, "It's a blessing for us to be able to do something like this for the community. We purchased this chapel during COVID-19 restrictions, so we weren't able to use it. But now that the restrictions are lessened, what we wanted to do was really reach out and help as many people as we can, give whatever we can, and let them know that the church is here whenever anyone needs anything. Aid to Humanity. Another part of the day was the Church of Christ's support for the Aid to Humanity outreach program. Established in 1981, the program delivers essential resources to communities that need them. Santos said these types of humanitarian initiatives are a big part of their efforts. Santos says the celebrations also include distributing care packages that we would love to give to the community. So we've prepared those just so that the community knows that we're doing our best to be good citizens here in Neepawa. As for the church's effort to establish itself in Neepawa, Santos noted that the community has been very welcoming, which has been greatly appreciated. Santos says, "We just want to say thank you to the community. We really appreciate the love and acceptance that we felt when we bought the chapel and became a staple here in Neepawa. The community really reached out and welcomed us. I don't know if there's enough words to say thank you to all of them." And a couple more. I think that picture was in last week's paper as well. There at the top. Okay, I think that takes care of that page. Let's turn the page, see what we've got. Water safety. So these are the people that keep you safe when you're at the pools. In Neepawa, so reading left to right, in Neepawa, McCreary, Carberry, and Gladstone. And I'm just going to read the names. You might recognize them, you might not. So in Neepawa, we have Sadie McIntosh, Claire Beaumont, Erica Bray, Jenna Beaumont, Ryder Finney, Allison Beaumont. Kendra Harris, Kyla Wahosky, Ella Koschel, Rebecca Ellis, Jessie Wither, Amber Wahosky, and missing is Jaden Hankey. In McCreary, the people keeping you safe there are Caden Martin, Michaela Coleman, Hallie Scott, Kelsey Much, Chris Zawiski, Ashley Scott, Caitlin Gregson, Cameron Dunning, Stacy Dunning. And Carberry's crew consists of Lexi Unrow, Dahlia Snaith, Quinn Thorne, Aiden Town, Tyler Hood, Braden Knox, Nate Robson, Colton Knox, and missing Ty Neal Steen and Dylan Barnstable. Gladstone has Taya Campbell, Brooke Reimer, Kendra Harris, Veronica Casagay, Kira Weed, Lacey Budens, Kira Reamer, and Lauren Armstrong. And we have Dream Ride 2022. We had some pictures last week. We have an article this week. Pictured above, we have Gary Ford, Mark Calvert. Rainey is one of the recipients of the funds raised in the middle there on the crutches. Calder Anderson, Nolan Ritchie. This is by John Drinkwater. The third annual Dream Ride took place on Saturday, July 23rd. There were significant changes to the schedule this year. The 52-kilometer ride departed the Onanol Recreation Center at 8 a.m. The 15-kilometer walk departed from the cook shed opposite Trading Post at 8 a.m. The 15-kilometer e-bike ride left the e-bike rental shed near Temple Gas at 10 a.m. This year's fundraising recipients were Maya, aged 4 from Carberry, and Rainey, aged 13 from Brandon. Maya was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia at 21 months old. She recently finished her cancer treatments. All she has known are appointments, hospitals, and medicine. After seeing a commercial for Disney, she told her parents she wanted to see the castle. Rainey was diagnosed with Ollier disease at age 6, a rare hereditary bone condition. He has experienced multiple fractures leading to over 100 hospital visits. A visit to Disney is top of his dream list too. 3 celebrities participated in the e-bike ride. Matt Calvert, a Canadian former professional ice hockey left winger, played for the Columbus Blue Jackets and Colorado Avalanche during his career in the NHL. Calder Anderson played for Winkler Flyers, Moose Jaw Warriors, and the Neepawa Natives. Nolan Ritchie played for the Brandon Wheat Kings from 2018 to 2022. 2 teams of 7 were selected to comprise of Team Maya and Team Rainey. Team Maya won the challenge, raising the most donations. Gary and Marcia Fork, organizers, said, "Our original goal was $35,000. However, our latest figure is $41,433.41. During the past 3 years, we have raised over $100,000 for this event." Hey, something coming up on August 11th, this Thursday, to support Children's Hospital Foundation. It's the Miracle Treat Day at Dairy Queen. They do this every year, the Neepawa one, and the Miracle Treat Day. It's on Thursday, August 11th. You buy a blizzard, and the net proceeds will be donated to the local Children's Hospital Foundation. That's this Thursday, August 11th. It is very busy at our Neepawa one when that comes along. Lots of people help out by buying that blizzard. The swim season is underway for Neepawa Blue Dolphins, and this was submitted by the Neepawa Blue Dolphins. The Neepawa Blue Dolphins are enjoying a swimming good time this season. Under the direction of head coach Claire Beaumont, the team participated in a pair of swim meets in July. There was a tree herd meet on Sunday, July 17th. The Winkler meet occurred on Sunday, July 24th. I guess if you want more information on that and the people who won, there's girls all the way from 8 and under to 15 and over. Same with the boys for the most part. So it's quite a large group. And it takes in a large age range. The Winkler one, though, seems to have only had people, well, maybe it's just the people that could make it from here. There was boys 9-10, boys 11-12, and girls 11-12. A difficult year off the ice in Neepawa. By the Neepawa Titans confirm year-end financial loss at AGM by Ian Devereaux. This is probably not the return to normal that the Neepawa Titans Junior A Hockey Club had been hoping for post-pandemic. The team hosted its annual general meeting on Tuesday, August 2nd in the lobby of the Yellowhead Center. The gathering was a chance for the organization to review the results of the 2021-2022 MJHL season. During the session, board representatives confirmed that the team had suffered a net financial loss last season of $60,516. That adds the team's overall long-term debt, as it now stands at $299,056. This is the 6th time in the last 8 years the Titans natives have closed the fiscal year at a loss. According to the organization's official financial statements, which are compiled annually by Kinley Thompson Chartered Accountants, Inc., the overall revenue for the club's 21-22 fiscal year totaled $416,204. Meanwhile, the expenses to operate the club were $481,269. The most notable expenses over the year for the team were as follows: subcontracts, $75,000, hockey supplies, $74,000. These are just going to be approximate values. Fundraising expenses, $69,000, billets, $57,000, and bus expenses, $44,000. As for revenue sources, fundraising was the largest, and again, I'm going to round these off to nearest thousand, at $205,000, followed by local sponsorship agreements, $87,000, MJHL sponsorships, $43,000, and game revenue or ticket sales and 50-50 was at almost $49,000. Titans board member Jamie Denbo did note that while the MJHL season was played in full, there were still a few extenuating circumstances that impacted the bottom line. He said the portion of the year where maximum allowable attendance of games was cut to 250 people due to provincially mandated restrictions, did have an effect. Danbo stated that the rising costs of operating a Junior A hockey club are difficult to deal with, especially for a small to mid-market team such as Neepawa. He did add, however, that a notable growth in local sponsorships recently, combined with a return to a normal climate, post-COVID restrictions, should help the team moving forward. The Coach GM report, Neepawa Titans head coach and general manager Ken Pearson stated that the 21-22 season was not short of peaks and valleys, both on and off the ice, for the club. From the changing of the team's name and the costs associated with it, to uncertainties out of their control related to COVID-19 restrictions. He remained optimistic, however, that there will be improvements this upcoming year. Other items of note that Pearson referenced included the new assistant coaches that will be a part of the team this season. Zach Hicks and Landon Cameron were announced as joining the club back in June. Speaking with the Banner and press at the conclusion of the AGM, Pearson noted that it is time for the team to take that next step. And says, the community should look forward to a good product, both on and off the ice in 22-23. And he says as well, we're leaps and bounds ahead of last year with the roster. We'll likely have about 15 returning players to the club and a few young prospects that we think are ready to step in and play. We're excited about hitting training camp. Camp will begin at the end of the month, followed by 5 preseason games. Those games include 2 games each against the Portage Terriers and Wayway Sikapo Wolverines. As well, the Titans will play 1 game in Neepawa against the Cam River Fighting Walleye of the SIJHL on September 6th. Okay. I don't know, there's a hearing clinic date here on August 16th at Arts Forward from 9 to 3 p.m. I guess Murray Smith's Hearing Care Center will be there. Appointment times are limited. You can book your free hearing screening today by calling 204-726-5020. Okay, I guess I read through that fairly fast, so I'm going to go back and read some of the stuff that I didn't cover yet, because I'm going to leave the obituaries to the end, because we have some really long obituaries this week. I'll give you 2 of the short ones here, though. We have John Carl Nelson, 1935 to 2022, peacefully on Monday, July 25th, 2022, at the Pembina Manitou Health Center. Carl Nelson, 87, formerly of Carberry, Brandon, and Morden, passed away. Private graveside service will be held at the Carberry Cemetery. As well, we have Muriel McPhail, celebrating a life and loving memory of Muriel McPhail, July 28th, 1928 to April 10th, 2021. And they're going to have, it says, please join her family for the party she would have planned. That's a come and go at the Carberry Legion on Sunday, August 14th from 1 to 3 p.m. Okay, how about this? Portage and Plumas advanced to Santa Clara Baseball League Finals by Gladwin Scott. The Portage Padres scored 5 times in the bottom of the 6th to record a 5-2 victory over the visiting Carberry Royals, Tuesday, July 26th. The win allowed the Padres to capture the semi-final series, 2-1, and advance to the Santa Clara final. Joey Moffett struck out 10 and scattered 6 hits for the hosts. Zane McConnell whiffed 3 for the Royals, who led 1-0 in the 6th. Key hits by Chris Reichel, Dalen Laramie, and the Moffett brothers, Brody and Joey, along with a pair of walks, gave Portage the advantage. Eric Truscott and Jose McMillan singled twice for Carberry, who scored single runs in the 4th and 7th innings. Portage will now meet the Plumas Pirates, who defeated the Neepawa Cubs 2-0 in the other semifinal. Okay, here on the right-hand side, we have a couple of pictures, and the title, our title is Youth Beef Roundup Wraps Up for Another Year. Photos were submitted by Kira Patterson, and the blurb that goes with the photos is, the 15th Annual Manitoba Youth Beef Roundup took place from July 30th to August 1st at the Neepawa Ag Complex. The weekend featured a variety of workshops and activities related to cattle showing and the cattle industry, including a teen grooming competition, which is pictured. There was also a stock dog demonstration, judging workshops, a steak cook-off, AI workshops, and more. Down here at the bottom, Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation, your support is changing lives. Each year, hundreds of Manitobans hold fundraisers and events in their communities to raise funds in support of those touched by cancer diagnosis. On July 3rd, the 7th annual Carberry Potato Chuck Pull raised more than $200,000. This long-standing community event draws thousands of people each year, coming together to support one and other. Okay, that's awkward. Thank you to the Smart family, event sponsors, and all those involved in this year's Potato Chuck Pull. All funds raised stay in Manitoba and support an internationally recognized team at Cancer Care Manitoba, who provide outstanding care for patients and their families dealing with cancer diagnosis. If you're interested in fundraising, or supporting this event, you can call them, email them, or visit them online at cancercarefdn.manitoba.ca. And seems like we have High Life on the back quite often. And in this case, though, they're having a product launch event and free samples in Neepawa at Fresh Mart on Wednesday, August 10th from noon to 5 p.m. So this coming Wednesday at Fresh Mart, there's going to be a launch event and free samples of High Life product. High Life has been producing premium pork for decades, and we're proud to now make High Life pork available to the community at retail. High Life is all in on pork. Come out on Wednesday to see why our products are in demand around the world. Hey, I can go back and read some of the other things that I didn't get to the first time around. The looking back, again, I will skip that for just now. How about by Neil Strotchen, Faithfully Yours, titled A Trio of Errors, Part 1. In last week's column, I promised that I would identify 3 errors of which our society is guilty. On the surface, they may not look all that serious, but as a consequence of these errors, the foundations of peace, order, and good government that have made our country glorious and free are being seriously eroded. This week, we will deal with our first error. Our society has humanized God. We speak volumes about those attributes of God that we like, His love, His mercy, His kindness, His patience, etc. There's nothing wrong with that. We need to talk about them. But we don't talk about God's infallibility, that He is always right. We don't talk about the unchanging standards of right and wrong that He has given us in the Bible. We don't talk about His hatred of any thought, word, or deed that violates His laws. We don't talk about the anger He expresses when He sees racism, bias, prejudice, discrimination, violence, and abuse of the vulnerable and weak in our society. And we don't talk about the eternal punishment that awaits those who deliberately violate God's laws. We don't talk about them because we think a loving God would never be like that or do those things, and that is where we are wrong. A loving God sent His Son, Jesus Christ our Lord, to this earth to die for our sins so that we could be forgiven and never have to face the anger, judgment, and punishment that awaits those who sin against Him and refuse the forgiveness He offers us. But we have turned God into someone who is just like us, and that has cost our society a great deal. Let me explain what I mean. When we buy produce at a grocery store, it is placed on a scale, and the price we pay is based on the weight of the item we buy. But can we be sure, when we are doing this, that we aren't being scammed? Yes, we can, thanks to Measurement Canada, a government agency responsible for testing and approving all scales used for any commercial purpose. The weights and measures they use are exact copies of the standard weights and measures housed in the offices of the International Bureau of Weights and Measures in Paris, France. Okay, I had no idea about that. Any weight or measure that exactly matches the standard is correct. Others are wrong. The IBWM standards are absolute. They have been that way since 1857 when they were first defined. They don't change just because a government or someone in a position of leadership thinks they should. Humans have been around a lot longer than the IBWM standards. So where do we turn when we are seeking absolute standards of right and wrong for our lives? The IBWM standards were created by an international group of scientists, put on paper and ratified by 12 major industrial countries. 47 additional countries have accepted those standards since 1857 and now use them as the standard weights and measures for all trade and commerce within their borders and with other countries. To find absolute standards of right and wrong for us, we look to our Creator, to the God who said, "Let us make humans in our image and after our likeness." The infallible, all-knowing, never-changing God who created us has given us absolute standards of right and wrong. They can be found in the Bible. If we ignore them, we do so at our own peril. And that was the Faithfully Yours, Neil Strauchan's column. Okay, how about the Here and There by Gladwin Scott? Oh, I did read that. Did I? No, I can't remember what I read. Nope, didn't read that. Carberry's Carson Bjornsson, 17, has been selected to Team Canada for the Under-18 tournament in Red Deer, Alberta, July 31st, August 6th. He was the only Manitoban chosen for the Helinka Gritsky Cup, which includes 12 WHL players. The Brandon Wheat Kings backup rookie goalie had a record of 8-10-1 with a 4.00 goals against average and a .882 save percentage. The Carberry golf team of Shane McCullough, Braden Culvert, Joel Barron, and Matt Leckman won their Prairie Mountain Legacy Play-off game 4-2 against Neepawa and will meet the winner of the other semifinal between Glenborough and Gilbert Plains. Patrick Law, league organizer, states, "There will be a gold medal match and a bronze medal game." The Carberry Communities in Bloom Garden of the Week is 448 Main Street, the home of Darlene Coots and Glenn Creasy. The Rivers Comets of the Southwest League won the Provincial Senior Baseball Championship Sunday, July 24th at Wawanesa. Ryan Shaw was the winning pitcher in an 8-7 decision over the Carmen Cardinals, Border League, in their semi-final. Scott Beaver struck out 15 as the Comets beat the Plumas Pirates of the Santa Clara League 5-1 in the tournament final. And next week, Gladwin Scott, he's taken a short break from his weekly news updates from the Carberry area, so there will be a hiatus beginning in the August 12th edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. So next week. Did that one. Okay, let's do that swim season. We'll announce these people's names. Let them have their moment of fame on the news here. So this swim season underway for Neepawa Blue Dolphins. I'm going to give you the results of the Treeherne meet on July 17th. Girls 8 and under. Riley Wilson was first place in the 25-meter freestyle and backstroke. She placed second in the 50-meter backstroke and 50-meter freestyle. In girls 9-10, Taylor Jacobson was first in the 50-meter breaststroke and first in the 50-meter butterfly and 100-meter. I don't remember what IM is. Okay, IM. She was also third in the 100-meter breaststroke and 100-meter freestyle. Myra Gingras was first in the 25-meter freestyle, 25-meter breaststroke, and 25-meter butterfly. Second in the 50-meter backstroke, and third in the 100-meter freestyle. Girls 11-12, we have Ann Crossan, who was first place in the 50-meter breaststroke, second place in the 100-meter breaststroke, second in the 50-meter backstroke, and second in the 25-meter butterfly. Third place in the 50-meter freestyle. Cloran Howe had a first place in the 25-meter breaststroke and 25-meter backstroke. Second place in the 25-meter freestyle, third place in the 50-meter backstroke, and seventh place in the 50-meter freestyle. Girls 13-14, Cami Smith was first in the 200-meter freestyle, the 200-meter IM, and second in the 100-meter breaststroke and 100-meter freestyle, third in the 100-meter, I think I am. Individual medley, I believe that's what it is. Ashley Nadeau was first in the 100-meter individual medley, 25-meter freestyle, and 50-meter breaststroke. Second in the 100-meter butterfly, third in the 100-meter breaststroke. Alyssa Nadeau was first in the 25-meter breaststroke and 200-meter breaststroke, second in the 50-meter breaststroke and 200 meters individual medley, fourth in the 100-meter breaststroke. Elia Jacobson was third in the 50-meter breaststroke and 100-meter breaststroke, fourth in the 100-meter individual medley and 50-meter backstroke. Girls 15 over, Cassidy Smith was first in the 100-meter breaststroke and the 100-meter individual medley and the 50-meter breaststroke. Second in the 50-meter backstroke and 100-meter backstroke. Boys in 8 and under was Austin Nadeau, first in the 25-meter butterfly, 100-meter freestyle, second in the 25-meter breaststroke and 25-meter backstroke, third in the 25-meter freestyle. The Winkler meet held on July 24th. The Blue Dolphins results were boys 9-10, Austin Nadeau, second place in the 25-meter butterfly, third in the 25-meter backstroke, fourth in the 50-meter freestyle and 50-meter breaststroke, fifth in the 25-meter breaststroke. Boys 11-12, there was J.C. Smith, second in the 25-meter butterfly and 25-meter breaststroke, third in the 100-meter breaststroke, fourth in the 25-meter freestyle and 50-meter breaststroke. Felix Carefoot, second in the 25-meter freestyle, third in the 25-meter butterfly and 25-meter breaststroke, seventh in the 50-meter breaststroke. Girls 11-12, Taylor Jacobson, second in the 100-meter individual medley and 50-meter butterfly, third in the 100-meter breaststroke and 100-meter freestyle, fourth in the 50-meter breaststroke. Ann Crossan, first in the 50-meter backstroke, 25-meter butterfly and 25-meter breaststroke, third in the 50-meter freestyle and 50-meter breaststroke. Sydney Wolf, fourth in the 25-meter breaststroke and fifth in the 50-meter breaststroke. The swim meet season continues for the Neepawa Blue Dolphins with a competition in Manitou on Sunday, August 7th. They'll host an event in Neepawa on Sunday, August 14th, before closing out the season on August 21st in Beausejour. Don't forget a Miracle Treat Day, Thursday, August 11th, by a blizzard. Net proceeds to the local Children's Hospitals Foundation. Okay, we have these two obituaries here that I'm now going to read. The first one is Frank Arnold Anderson. Frank Arnold Anderson was born on August 22nd, 1935, the eldest child of George and Elizabeth Anderson, Lowe. He came home from the hospital to the family farm at Austin, where he was fortunate to spend the first 6 years of his life with his live-in paternal grandmother, who certainly helped to influence how he was raised and who he became even as a man. The house only got busier over the years, with the addition of 6 younger siblings and lots of family and friends in and out. Frank took his early schooling at Springbrook, about a mile down the road from home, and then went on to Austin. Frank was no stranger to work, as he helped with the harvest each fall since he was about 12, until he finally left school at age 16 to go to work full-time. He started out building military housing, first at Rivers, then joining his friends in Shiloh to do the same, but for better pay. In about 1952, he decided that he wanted to see the country and started his adventures with hitchhiking around the western provinces, finding work in various places, including zinc and gold mines. He returned home again to help on the farm during the winter months, or if work was slow out west. Frank said he hitched 6,300 miles in 5 weeks one time, and always talked about how good the Salvation Army was to him over the years, as that was the first place he'd go for a bed and a meal. He enjoyed repaying those hitchhiking rides many times over through the years, until long after it was considered safe to do so. In about 1954, he got a proper job, his words, where he worked on the telegraph lines for a couple of years before he started working as a hoe and crane operator. He was involved in building many small bridges still in use today in southern Ontario, Manitoba. In a fraction of the time they would be built today, and yet every bit as good. Many cherished friendships were formed during these years and continue until this day. Frank married Yvonne Hansen in March of 1959 and often said it was the best decision of his life. They had 4 children. Tristis was born later that fall, Donna in 61, Reed in 64, and Leanne in 69. In 1965, as their young children were starting school, they settled back home in Austin and started to farm. They moved to his uncle Glenn's yard, and he and his brother Eric formed a partnership which was to last many years. By about 1968, Frank was able to farm full-time, while Eric continued to work on northern construction jobs, coming home in the downtimes to help. In 1972, Frank and Yvonne moved to the farm at Carberry, where they lived until they moved to town in 1988. It was during this time that Donna, Reed, and Leanne all started to farm, and Eric moved out on his own. Frank enjoyed trying new things in agriculture, and over the years dabbled in cow-calf operations and specialized breeds, such as Charolais, Simmental, and Maine Anjou. He then became quite famous for his Holstein feeders, as he was one of the first to feed cattle with waste potatoes. He was also one of the first in the area to ship cattle to the States, once again forming numerous friendships in the business that he greatly valued always. Frank never ceased to share his love of farming, opinions, and expertise with anyone who would listen and wanted to learn. Frank enjoyed traveling, and he and Yvonne have logged many miles together, just the two of them, but also with many good friends and family. They visited Australia, his favorite destination, and Holland, as well as Canada coast to coast, and much of the U.S. They enjoyed taking in the countrysides via the scenic route and national parks, and always made time for feedlots and auction marts, and of course connecting with friends and family along the way. He enjoyed guns and all that came with them, including reloading shells, target practices, gun shows, and more, which he enjoyed sharing with friends and family. He loved vehicles and always drove in style, whether in a sparkling clean Range Rover, Jeep, or his classic go-to, a new red Ford truck. From a young age, Frank was always interested in politics and greatly enjoyed a good debate over current world issues. He was a faithful conservative, as he always said they were the best of the worst option. He subscribed to numerous magazines and newspapers and never missed scouring an issue cover to cover, usually with a hot cup of coffee, hot or iced tea, or plain old cup of hot water. He could often be found down at the local coffee shop, whether in Carberry or Austin, for the latest local news, too. In the last few years, especially, Frank and Yvonne frequented restaurants and diners numerous times a week, making friends out of the staff and other regulars. He loved giving advice to anyone who asked, and a few who didn't. He firmly believed that people were good, and if you treated people right, they would treat you right in return. He himself was well liked and well respected in his communities. Frank is lovingly remembered by his wife of 63 years, Yvonne, daughter Tristy, son Reed, daughter Leanne, grandchildren Jamie and Kyle, Whitney, Lane and Alexis and Camille, Taryn and Reese, great-grandchildren Kylan and Keaton and Marianne, siblings Darwin and Lorraine Chant, son-in-law Peter, brother-in-law Alex, Aunt Rabel, as well as nieces, nephews, and extended family. He was predeceased by his daughter Donna and siblings Lauren, Garth, Lynn, and Eric. A celebration of life will be held on Monday, August 1st, which is come and gone. And our other obituary here is Rita Gordon. On March 9th in the early afternoon, Rita Gordon, beloved wife, mother, and grandmother, passed away peacefully with her family by her side after a courageous battle with cancer. Rita leaves behind the love of her life, her husband Sidney, her children Yves and Mua, Sylvie and Aleki, and her grandchildren Marceau, Sosefo, Lena, Savoy, Priscilla, Nikki, Claire, and Trent. She leaves to mourn as well her prairie family Glenn, Valerie, Bill, Marie, Wes, Dave, Peggy, Sylvia, and Sue, and their children, and her family in Quebec, sisters Nicole, Jacqueline, and Lucy, and brother Gillies and their families. Rita was predeceased by her parents, Ernest and Suzanne Pegot, Charlie and Monica Gordon, Barry Hood, Margaret Hood, Ray Taylor, and her older brother, Yves Pegot. Rita was born and raised in the tiny community of La Bouquetière, Quebec, on the banks of the St. Lawrence River. In school, she was a hard-working, bright student. so much so that when she was finishing high school, she was asked by the nuns in her church if she would consider becoming a nun herself. Luckily for her husband and children, this was not in her plans, and instead, after school, she obtained her RN nursing degree and began her healthcare career in the community of James Bay in northern Quebec. It was during this time in her life that she met her future husband, an adventurous prairie boy who was working up north. On fishing trips, paddling the rivers, picnics by the lakes, and under the canopy of the northern lights, Sydney and Rita fell in love, despite not even being able to speak the same language. Sydney knew from the moment he laid eyes on her that this beautiful French girl with dark sparkling eyes would be his wife, and he set out his signature no-fail spirit to make that happen. Rita and Sydney's wedding was celebrated with their northern Indigenous friends, some of whom helped Sydney to set up a teepee beside a lake in the wilderness, where he and his bride paddled to their honeymoon. The teepee setting must have been successful in terms of setting the stage for romance. For 9 months later, their son Yves was born. Sylvie, their daughter, joined just a year later. Rita's time spent up north were some of her most cherished memories. After a few years, the family farm at home was calling, and Rita and Sydney made their home on the farm in Langford. Rita was quick to learn everything she could about her new home and culture. For the first few years, she had to adapt to a new language and no running water. She became an expert gardener and canner, preserving jars of pickles and storing fresh vegetables for winter in the root cellar. She learned to raise chickens, pigs, and cattle, and her nursing skills were often called to the test to administer medications to her animals. Rita would make jellies from crab apples, jam from raspberries, and gather wild sage to flavor her meals. Rita was forever grateful to Sid's mom and dad, his sisters and brothers, her sisters-in-law, and her kind neighbors who helped her to adjust and learn to adapt to prairie life. Despite her busy and fulfilling life at home, nursing still called out to Rita. She went back to university to get her BN, studying full-time and being a full-time mother. Upon completion of her degree, she became a well-loved and respected health nurse in the Neepawa area. Her favorite part of her job was doing home baby visits to new mothers to make sure everything was going well in their new parenting journey. Even when she wasn't officially nursing, Rita's phone would often ring from family and neighbors for medical advice, a testimony to the respect people had for her knowledge and her willingness to always help when needed. Despite her love for nursing, Rita's greatest joy in life was being a wife, mother, and grandmother. Always giving of herself, Rita would do anything to make a loved one's day just a little brighter. Her expert cooking skills lent themselves to many a family meal of laughter and storytelling. She faithfully cooked her signature birthday cake at every grandchild's birthday and delighted in singing and playing games to celebrate the Christmas season. She could always be counted on to lend a cheer at hockey games or drive hours to listen to her grandchildren's 4-H speeches. She spread her love of music to her grandchildren and loved to go see their performances in school productions, choirs, and piano recitals. Sydney and Rita spent years enjoying their cabin at Clear Lake, walks in the wilderness, and picnics on the shores of Lake Kenoso. Though our hearts are heavy with the loss of Mom and Grandma, we take comfort that the gifts she gave us will come alive in each of our stories. Her warmth, caring, selflessness, and love did not leave us and will find their way woven into the threads of our lives. So, Mom, we will do our best, taking one day at a time, just like you always said, and hold everything you were close to our hearts. We will love you forever. The family wishes to extend our deepest gratitude to the nurses and doctors who attended to Rita during her stay in the Neepawa Hospital. Dr. Tariq for his dedicated care as her family physician, Dr. Pocker and Cancer Care, who helped Rita receive the best treatment she could. A special thank you to Father Mark and Sister Aline Komu for their prayers during Rita's final days. Thank you to all who have reached out with condolences. Every message, card, and hug was treasured. A private family observation of Rita's took place on August 4th. And that is going to conclude the reading of the news for the August 5th edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. I hope you enjoyed that. And somebody will read it to you next week. Have a good week until then.